Welcome on in, guys. Three Bold Takes. I'm Freddie. I'm joined by Chase and Quinn. And before we get into this video, we are looking at Arkansas versus Auburn. This video is sponsored by SeatGeek. They are the #1 ticket platform in the world. 70,000 events daily that they have tickets to. I personally love SeatGeek. And because of that, we want to extend a $20 off your first purchase using the code 3BoldTakes. So go to the description, click the link, do that. You will thank us later. Now, on to Arkansas and Auburn. This is a game between two bottom feeders of the SEC to me. Okay, bottom feeders is a little mean. Florida's a bottom feeder. This is 11th, 12th, 13th seed in the SEC for me. Arkansas, Auburn. Auburn is a 3.5-point favorite over under a 58.5, and game is at 2:30 Saturday. Chase,
Come on.
talk to me.
Oh man, I'm feeling it. I love both. I love this matchup. This is actually my favorite SEC matchup so far this year. We had LSU South Carolina last week. We had Florida Texas A&M, but I like this one because both of these teams are looking for an identity and looking for a resurgence as a team. Arkansas, early 2010s, my childhood, really watching football. They were a very good team. Auburn has had good moments in the past decade, however, still has found the middle of the road mostly. Arkansas, though, they lose KJ Jefferson from a year ago. I'm thinking, that's just not a smart move. Why is he not at the helm at Arkansas? And it looked like their offense was just non-existent last year compared to the year before. However, you replace him with another 6'6", 230-pound quarterback. And then you also bring in your former head coach who has just lit up your offense and Bobby Petrino. And probably right now, we'll see at the end of the season, saving Sam Pittman's job. And then Auburn, your Hugh Freeze kind of stuck himself with the Peyton Thorne situation, kind of let it go on a little too long, and you found out quickly that you can lose even if you have great skill around that quarterback and the illustrious freshmen that you got for receivers and stuff like that, and an all SEC back. So for me, I'm going to go Arkansas on this one. I love what Petrino's done with the offense. I think that's a huge thing for me. He's really used Green's skill set. He kind of looks a lot like how DeBoer is using Jalen Milroe. He's letting him use his feet and some read options. He's letting him pass. He's got a really big arm. I don't think he has a big as arm as Jalen Milroe, but I love what Green's doing. He's really commanding the offense. They're allowing him to play, and they're showing very, very good signs that their offense can outscore somebody else's, in which you couldn't say about Arkansas in the past 2 to 3 years. So that's really promising to see. And I think Auburn, the reason I like Arkansas more here is Auburn, you're still trying to bring in Hank Brown, a freshman that you want to get started, that who is going to probably be good. He looked good this previous game. But at the end of the day, it's still a freshman here. You have this SEC game at home, but how good does he do against an SEC type defense compared to who they played last week? So I'm going to go Arkansas on this one. Give me Green and the Razorbacks. Quinn?
Yeah, man. Auburn, Arkansas, let's be frank about it. This is two of the bottom half of the mid tier of the SEC. Like, that's what they are, plain and simple. Both teams are trying to establish themselves this year and be a 7 or 8 win team. That way, when they compare themselves to Texas A&M, Kentucky, South Carolina, they can go, look, we were better than them. We can be more optimistic for next year. Maybe we'll be the next Tennessee to jump our way up the standings inside of the SEC. Right? That's where these two programs are. Cutting to the chase, man. Arkansas, they didn't look good against UAB, but I think it's important to note that that game was squished in between two huge road games at Oklahoma State, at Auburn. Meanwhile, Auburn has not looked impressive this year. They look great against the bottom feeder of the SWAC, Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M is not an impressive football team, even at their own level. Then you come up and you get manhandled by Cal. That's embarrassing. At home, manhandled by Cal, and then they did not look good against New Mexico, and that's not a good team either. I want to point that, like, they are 130 something in pass defense. That is at the very bottom of the FBS. Arkansas looks like a more talented team. I do think Jordan Hare is going to bring some weird juju to the vibe of the game. It's going to keep it closer than it should be long term. But at the end of the day, I think Arkansas is too explosive offensively with Bobby Petrino, and they end up pulling away by, I'm going to say, 10 points over the Tigers.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So you guys have highlighted both, Auburn and Arkansas very well in their previous weeks in their games. I watched that Arkansas UAB game, and boy, I tell you what, UAB should have won that game. There's a couple boneheaded decisions, coaching staff wise, which, hey, Trent Dilfer's still learning. All right. So we'll give him a little bit of some slack there. When you look at Auburn and the game against New Mexico, this is a tale of two halves to me. Now, obviously, you could look at the score, 45-19. Okay, they played well. They blew them out. No, they didn't. They played a good second half of football, and that's it. I think they were leading, 17-13 at halftime, and then exploded and ended up scoring 45 points. Hank Brown, for what it's worth, man, I mean, he's a true freshman, but, he had 235 yards, 4 touchdowns. But the biggest thing, 0 interceptions. I don't care how bad New Mexico's defense is. Somebody like Peyton Thorne, who has 4 interceptions on the year and only 5 touchdowns, like, those are way better numbers so far. And I don't want to get too excited for what he could do for Auburn, but I think Auburn's defense is their biggest problem. And I don't know, what the issue is, right? Like, we know Hugh Freeze is an offensive-minded coach. He's going to have good schemes. He may not always have a good offense. I think that's something to keep in mind, is that a scheme may be good, but if you don't have the players to run that scheme, you're not going to win football games. This is such a tough one, man. Auburn favored by 3.5 at home. I'm going to go with the home team here. I like Auburn to win this game against Arkansas. I honestly think that the Oklahoma State game, that probably deflated Arkansas a little bit, because that was their chance to get a big win for their head coach. And that slipped them by, and it was the head coach's fault and some stupid play calls and decisions by Sam Pittman. I think he was coaching for his career and for his season in that game, and it ended up costing him. So I'm looking for Arkansas to take a nosedive here going forward. I do like the quarterback, though. I think he's going to be good. And he still is good. Even now he's very athletic. But I look for him to be somebody in the future very, very good. But I'm going to go Auburn in this game at home against the Razorbacks. Anybody have any last words there?
I'll throw this in there real quick. Normally, I would go Auburn because of Jordan Hare. But what has Jordan Hare been in the last 5 or so games played there? You lost to New Mexico State. You choked in epic fashion to Alabama. You beat up Alabama A&M. You got manhandled by Cal. This is all in Jordan Hare. I don't know if the Jordan Hare magic's there for Hugh Freeze. I'm gonna say it. I may regret that long term, but I don't think it's there.
And I think for both teams, when you're looking at this game, look at the games that they've lost. You look at the Cal game for Auburn. You look at the Oklahoma State game for Arkansas. Oklahoma State, I feel, has a better shot at being something in their conference compared to what Cal is. And so I think it's a tougher loss on Auburn right now. And then you're looking at it like, okay, well, we got to switch things up. Arkansas just had a tough loss, made some errors on the coach's behalf, but their offense is moving. They're only going to get better throughout the season. So I think this is a real, I don't want to say easy game for Auburn, but Hugh Freeze has to figure out his system with a true freshman quarterback implementing in. And then also you got to remember, like, true freshman receivers too. They brought in that Fab Four, whatever they called them, over the offseason. And so they're trying to get those guys implemented. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains for Auburn, more so than Arkansas.
Hey, you watch out for the Cal Golden Bears. They're about to get a conference win over Florida State. I'm calling it right now.
Wow.
Wow. Well, guys, thanks for watching and talking a little bit of Arkansas, Auburn, and listening to us rant a little bit there. Remember to use our code 3BoldTakes at SeatGeek for $20 off your first purchase. From 3 Bold Takes, I've been Freddie. I'm joined by Chase and Quinn, and we will see you with more predictions and reactions next week and this week alike.